Quay. Hello. My name is Ginger Knockwood. My native name is Little Wind. I am Ilnu, also known as Mi'kmaq. From Canada, Mi'kmaqi, Ebequid, Prince Edward Island. I am a direct descendant of a residential school survivor, the youngest of 5. I grew up with not only a single mother, but an activist, a matriarch, a strong woman who would do anything for her children, even other children as well. Because of this, she never had time for herself. She went to university to study psychology and human behavior, to figure out her own mind. Because of the multiple beatings that my mother has faced as a child, she has the mindset of a 9-year-old. She is innocent, brilliant, caring, loving, giving, but oblivious to the adult world and to the way the adult mind works. She is so young at heart, with such a strong mind. But time, money, and rules are not a part of who she is. Because she put her children first, she was unable to complete her degree in psychology. She was so close, but her children needed her. And of course, she put us first. And she got enough out of her psychology degree to be able to figure out her own mind and learn how to move forward in life as being a residential school survivor with all the trauma she has faced. My mom was not trusting. She did not trust us in the care of anyone else but herself. So she had to depend on the welfare system to survive. My sister and I had a hard time with discrimination for being poor and racism for being First Nation. So we moved around a lot to find a school that better suit our needs, to only find out that there was no escaping the abuse of the public school system, leaving my mother with no other choice but to teach us herself. So she homeschooled us, teaching us out of a GED book that she had, which is grade 12 general education. Being the youngest child, I was glued to her hip. I was by her side during protests and activist movements. And when she used her voice, she was so empowering. Somebody who I greatly looked up to in life and proud to call her my mom. There were many attempts by the system to remove us, but my mother did everything she could to protect us from the broken system. She would never let us out of her sight, and she succeeded to protect us from the system. There were times when we would be running low on food, so my mother would fast, only drinking water. And this is a part of our tradition and our cultural ways. And this is what she would tell us, that she was just practicing her traditional ways and not to worry. But later in life, I knew she was doing it to make sure that our food would last and that we ate before she did. There were times when we were homeless and living in a car. Times when she would work out a way for us to stay at a campground all summer long in tents. She was the campfire storyteller for all the other campers at the campground. My sister and I would volunteer to help keep the campground tidy and stack wood. She always taught us to help others. And this is just what we did naturally. My mom always made the rough times so fun. And I don't regret the life that I lived as a child. But intergenerational abuse is so real. Because I was literally glued to my mother's hip, I heard her stories. And my mother was a storyteller, which means her stories would play like a movie in your mind. I would overhear some of the stories that she would tell about her life, the bad times growing up. They were bad enough to give me nightmares and flashbacks. Even though I was never physically there, I felt her pain. Because of the abuse she went through, she taught us to be extra careful. My mother is a survivor and taught us how to survive the life that she lived, the abuse she went through. I felt it too, through her stories and her teachings, especially the stories I overheard her tell. I lost my language. My mother speaks fluently, but in order to protect us, as a survival mechanism, she kept our language from us, for the most part, to protect us from those beatings that she had gotten by priests and nuns for using her native tongue. I grew up with fear of men, and fear of wearing provocative clothing, like short skirts and tight shirts, like those young girls would wear at the residential school, the ones the nuns would force them to wear, so the priest could drool all over the looks of their young bodies. I have fear of authority, teachers, nuns, social workers, the government. But the best thing I learned from my mother, as a strong matriarch she is, I was taught to always look for the good in everything. And this taught me to be resilient and to stand up for my daughters and my son. Today, there is still abuse in the public school system. I currently had to pull my daughters out of school and to put my career that I worked so hard for on hold, to homeschool my daughters because of the discrimination, racism, and physical abuse, not only just by peers, but mostly by teachers. I am proud to say that I removed this toxic obstacle from my daughters' lives, and with a lot of determination and hard work, my daughters are now attending a prestigious online school in the safety of my home, under my watchful eye. They are going to make a difference in this broken system, in this broken society today, one step at a time, with me by their sides. We will make a difference. We all can. We are survivors. We are resilient. And we will rise. Just remember, all the bad things that may have been bestowed on you can be a teaching for somebody else, can be that power, that guidance, and that love that someone needs to know that things are going to get better. We just need to stand united and to open up and share our stories for others to hear, so that we can break this broken cycle and live our lives to the fullest, to be accepted into society, regardless if they want us or not. Walalio, thank you. Much love to you all. Stand strong. Use your voice. And don't be hurt by the judgment of others, because there are so many of us who are still silent. We appreciate you.